All right, man. Got a video by Jimmy High Roller. He's already the best player in the world. I think I have an idea about what he's talking about. If you know, you know, man. This is post OKC versus San Antonio Western Conference Finals. Somebody was crowned an MVP right before the start of this series, and that same person got sent back home with his team to recoup for next season. So yeah, let's just go ahead and hop into it though. Yep. I would talk about Chet, bro, but I've been trashing this dude all week, man. Like, honestly, I have nothing else to add besides, yo, this guy just needs to grow a pair when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, the San Antonio Spurs and Chet and Victor Wembanyama, bro. I don't know what it is, but he just needs to step it up. I'm gonna give him a grace period, bro. Next season, you got to do better, Chet.
After 6 weeks of NBA playoff basketball, we are now down to just 2 teams. And while Knicks and Spurs fans get to enjoy the exhilarating experience of watching their team fight for an NBA title, the rest of us have been relegated to watch from the sidelines as we spew out hot takes about teams we couldn't beat.
Let me know what y'all think, man. Knicks versus Spurs. The Knicks are on what they say it was an 11-game win streak right now or something like that, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. They did pretty good in the Eastern Conference, but you have not faced a team like the San Antonio Spurs, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to count out the Knicks because they are pretty good, but do they have an answer to what the Spurs got going on? I'm just saying, if the Spurs can do what they did to the MVP, quote unquote, right? To not necessarily shut him down, but not have him look like an MVP, what the fuck do you think they're gonna do to Jalen Brunson? Listen, Jalen Brunson is like a shorter, I wouldn't say weaker, but you know what I'm saying? He's not an MVP version of SGA. That's just raps, bro.
And today, we're gonna take a look at some of these takes. Starting with this one that comes from a fan who asks, is Wemby the quickest someone has ever climbed to arguably #1 in the league? Wemby's in year 3. Neither LeBron or MJ ascended to #1 so quickly. And this is interesting because there's 2 parts.
I wouldn't say is he #1 right now? I mean, there isn't anybody I would take right now over Wembanyama in the league. So maybe, yeah, I don't think there's nobody I'll take over. Like right now, there's nobody I'll take over him. He might be #1. He might be #1.
Parts to this take. The first part is that Wemby is arguably the best player in the world. And the second is that no one else has been the best player in the world by the end of their 3rd season. Both of those statements a bit subjective. I think it's definitely fair to say that Victor Wembanyama is arguably the best player in the world right now. If it's not him, then it's Jokic or Shea. And regardless of who you pick, there's no wrong answer.
I don't think it's Shea no more though. I think listen, we've seen San Antonio prove that there is a way to slow Shea down to the point where he's not as effective. And it's also exposed the fact that OKC is just a great team in general. Like, they're capable of sustaining leads with or without Shea. It's not to say Shea's not important, but I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference when Shea's on the court compared to when Wemby's on the court. Like, when Wemby's on the court, there's actually like, yo, shit starts to get real, right? Like, his presence alone, like, it changes the flow of the game, both offensively and defensively. Shea, I mean, if he's off offensively, like, if he's just not getting buckets, other people are capable of, you know what I'm saying, making shit happen without him. We saw it with Jared McCain, Cason Wallace at times, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, J-Dub when he's playing and stuff like that, bro. AJ Mitchell if he's out there, you know what I'm saying? But when Wemby's not in there, bro, that's why, listen, this whole thing goes into the MVP talks. Let me stop pausing.
But the key word here is arguably. So has any other player in NBA history climbed to be arguably the best player in the league by year 3? And the answer is yeah. Wilt Chamberlain won a league MVP as a rookie.
Holy
By the
shit.
end of Kareem's third season, he led the league in scoring twice, had 2 MVPs, a finals MVP, and was definitively the best player in the NBA. Larry Bird was the runner-up in MVP voting in his second and third seasons in the league and was arguably the best player in the league. And of course, there's Michael Jordan, who, despite not having the hardware as tangible proof, was generally regarded as one of, if not the best player in the world by the end of his third season in '87. Now, looking into more recent NBA history, there's Shaquille O'Neal, who was arguably the best player in the league by '95, neck and neck with David Robinson and Hakeem Olajuwon. Although Shaq held the crown by 2000, in Tim Duncan's third season, he was in conversations as the best player in the league after leading the Spurs to a championship in just his second season. Another prodigy with an underrated early career is Kevin Durant, who was regarded as virtually the only player who could go toe-to-toe with a prime LeBron by his third season in the league in 2010. He finished second in MVP voting, and although he wasn't the best player in the world, he was next in line by his third.
Yeah, KD was a dog, bro. This is before the Achilles tear, bro. The way he was taking that shit to the rack in the early 2010s. Tell me what y'all know about that, though, bro. That's the KD y'all really don't know about, man. That's MVP KD. He can't do it the same no more, though. You know, he's a little older now. He take the mid-range jumpers and whatnot, but I mean, he's still a bucket getter. But you know what I'm saying? He don't got that same pop to him like he used to.
Season. And then there's Derrick Rose, who wasn't regarded as the best player in the world by the end of year 3, but he did get an award, a small consolation prize for his efforts.
You think Derrick Rose should have really got that MVP though, man? People argue maybe whether, you know, maybe he shouldn't have got it. Maybe it should have went to LeBron James. You know, he averaged like 19 points per game this year. They were first in the East. But it's like, some people like to say they were holding LeBron. I don't know. I mean, he already got it, so it's set in stone, but still, you know what I'm saying?
And of course, there's year 3 LeBron, who ascended in the 2000s with a crowd of all-time greats. By the end of his third season, there wasn't a definitive best player in the world. Between Dirk, Kobe, Nash, Duncan, the conversation was pretty open for interpretation, but there's no denying he was certainly in it, finishing second in MVP voting in his third season in the league.
Yeah, so he's in the same, Wembanyama is in the same conversation right now. Like, as there's not a definitive best player in the world, you know what I'm saying? There are other people that are kind of within that conversation. You know, SGA, you got Jokic, and you got Wemby. Yeah. He's right in that territory with LeBron from 06.
The moral of this story being that throughout modern NBA history, even amongst the greatest players of all time, there probably hasn't been a single player that was the consensus #1 player in the world by the end of year 3. Wemby falls in the same category as LeBron and Shaq and Jordan and Bird, making a very strong case as arguably the best player in the league. I wouldn't say he's definitively the best player in the world, but I'd say being in the same sentence as those guys is a good consolation.
Right.
Now, this next take comes from a fan who says you could replace Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 30 different players, and the Thunder still win the title.
30 different players? I don't know about 30, but I can name 5, maybe even 10. Let me see. Active players. LeBron James, replace SGA, they win the championship. Luka Doncic, replace SGA, they win the championship. Steph Curry, replace SGA, they win the championship. Giannis Antetokounmpo, replace SGA, they win the championship. Donovan Mitchell, replace SGA, they win the championship. Jalen Brunson, replace SGA, they win the championship. What else we got? Who else? Devin Booker, replace SGA, they win the championship. Okay, am I gonna stick with guards or forwards from this point? That's enough. Y'all get the memo, man.
And if this isn't evidence that SGA has the worst PR of any superstar of his era, I don't know what is.
Yeah, he does.
30 players. You know what the Thunder's record is this season, including the playoffs with Shai? 65-13. You know their record without him? 8-6.
Are you serious?
84% win percentage with Shai, 57% win percentage without him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it's a pretty low sample size, comparing the two. He doesn't have enough games not played compared to the games played. The decent statistic though, but you know the sample sizes are too big for us to really care about what the record says. Besides, either way, they still have a winning record though, right? That's what it really comes down to.
The Thunder's record over the last 3 seasons with Shea, 204 and 56.
Okay.
78% win percentage.
Winning record.
Their record without Shea, 15 and 12. A mediocre 56% win percentage.
Still a winning record, but I hear what you're saying, man.
Without Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over the last 3 seasons.
Okay.
For perspective, from 2016 through 2018, when the Warriors had the league in a chokehold, Golden State's record with Steph Curry was 215 and 44.
Holy
Their
shit.
record without him was 30 and 19.
Yeah, damn, bro. Okay, maybe I'm doing SG a little too dirty right now, bro. Yo, hey, Steph Curry, bro. This dude was getting carried, gang.
That is identical to the Thunder with and without Shea. Because it turns out, not only do great successful players have great impact, but they usually have great teams built around their unique skill set and talent. Time and time again, we penalize players for being a part of a good team. Fans minimize Steph because of how good the Warriors were. They downplayed LeBron in Miami because of how good the Heat were. And you can't bring up Jordan without someone mentioning how great the team around him was. But all of the true all-time greats had great teams around them. If social media existed in the 90s, all you would ever hear about is how stacked the Bulls are and the unfair advantage MJ has.
That is true, bro. Nobody ever talks about that. The same way people were talking about the Golden State Warriors and stuff like that in the mid 2010s, or like even the LeBron James and the Miami Heat and all them. That's the same treatment Jordan would have had there been social media around his tenure in Chicago. Even the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, they would have gotten, man, they too stacked, bruh. And they got too many great players. You would have had a motherfucker like me hating on them too, bro. Because I ain't gonna lie, when teams start getting too good, I start hating. I used to love Golden State when they won the first championship. I was like, hey man, that's what's up. After that, I started hating. You know what I'm saying? Even with SGA and the OKC Thunder, I was happy when they won the first one. The very next season, I started hating again, bro. I don't know what it is. I'm just a hating ass nigga, bro. That's really what it comes down to.
Steph had the most lethal team in the history of basketball behind him. Bird and Magic played with rotations filled exclusively with Hall of Famers.
Holy shit.
This is just the way it goes.
God, look at all them Hall of Famers.
And the irony of all of it is that in many cases, the perceived caliber of the team as a whole can often be the result of the guy leading the charge. Great players make their teammates look better. You'll often hear the hypothetical of swapping player X with player...
Oh, Jaylen Brown too. Swap him with SGA, they win the championship. Healthy Jason Tatum swapped him with SGA to win the championship. All right,
why and which team would perform better with their new star. For example, swap Jokic with SGA and the Thunder still win a championship, but the Nuggets would be in the play-in or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's not how basketball works. Good teams are built with intention. They are built with specificity. Shea is a great player. So is Luka Doncic. But Shea cannot do what Luka does. And Luka can't do what Shea does.
Whoa. Bring those things back.
Doncic, but Shea cannot do what Luka does, and Luka can't do what Shea does.
So they got Shea for mid-range magician, sure. I think Luka can do that as well, though. He does have a good mid-range. Elite decision maker, yes. Luka can also do that. What are we saying? Championship level closer. I think Luka is a championship level closer. I mean, the dude can close games. I think I'll trust Luka to close the game over Shea. Tempo king, are you serious? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over Luka in terms of tempo and pace? Whatever. Constant rim pressure? Bro, Luka has constant rim pressure. What are we talking about? Shot creator? Come on, bro. Now you just adding shit on here. See, it's a good thing I paused this to really see what they were talking about. Consistently consistent. When is Luka not consistent? What are we talking about? Where was Shea's consistency during the OKC versus Spurs series? Jimmy High Roller. Now for Luka, offensive engine, absolutely. I can say Shea ain't really got it like Luka when it comes to that though. As far as an engine, yeah. That's exclusively Luka. Playmaking maestro, Emphasis on maestro. I would give that to Luka. That is exclusive. Yes. I'm not hating. I'm just keeping it real. Microwave, I'll give it to both. Both of them have that microwave, like they can heat up, and like we saw Shea heat up in that game 7, right? So I'd give Shea some credit there. Helicentric blueprint, I don't even know what that means for real. So I'm just giving it. Shot creator, Shea has that. I think he gave him that too, so that's good. Mismatch hunter, I'd give that to both. 3 deep ball threat, yeah. It's exclusively this guy. So yeah, I mean, everything for Shea can go to Luka, but not everything for Luka can go to Shea. There's some defensive stuff maybe, but you know.
Same goes for Ant or Brunson. Great play.
I'm not gonna do all these. Let me see what they got. Human highlight. Oh, I like that. I like that for Anthony Edwards. Freak of nature, absolutely. Deep ball, yup. Mismatch hunter. I think, yeah, Ant-Man, you can put him on the Thunder too. They still win a championship, bruh. Constant rim pressure, yup. Anything about this guy? Floor general. I give that to Luka, not necessarily Shea. Championship. You give. Oh, hell nah, bruh. You give Jalen Brunson championship level closer, but not Luka Doncic? Jimmy, man, I don't know what the fuck this
Players, completely different skill sets. Great rosters are like a recipe. You need the right amount of the right ingredients to make it work. Change one ingredient and you risk screwing up the entire dish. In fact, we've already seen what happens when talent is viewed as some perfectly transferable property. In the super team era, where organizations had this exact mentality. Teams were slapped together with no intention, no design, no cohesion, just stacking up as much talent as possible for the sake of it.
Right.
And it almost never worked out. Regardless of what you think of Shea's game, he is a very unique and very crucial ingredient to a recipe that has been perfected over the last half-decade. And there are not 30 players who could fill his shoes and
No, there aren't 30 players. I think there's about 10 though. I think there's realistically 10.
lead OKC to a title. This take is absurd. Now, this next take comes from a fan who says there has never been a more difficult time to win an NBA championship than right now.
Yeah.
And I completely agree.
W take. When was the last time you saw somebody repeat, bro? We haven't seen a repeat since the Warriors in 2018 and 2019. No, wait. Since 2017, 2018. We ain't seen a repeat since, bro.
After the Warriors ran the table on the NBA last decade, the entire meta of professional basketball shifted. Teams have gotten smarter, they've gotten deeper, and although talent will always prevail, the path to winning a ring in today's NBA requires far more than just talent to get it done. This is now the 8th season in a row that a different team will be crowned champions.
Crazy.
The longest stretch of unique championship teams in NBA history.
Are you serious? That's the longest stretch? Oh my God. When do you think we're going to see a repeat next, bruh? I think even if the Spurs win this year, they may not win it again the next year. That's why it's very crucial to win this championship right now. If you're the Spurs or even the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks are going to win it, but I mean, if they do, you know what I'm saying? They might not go back the next year. The only team that had a chance to really repeat, in my opinion, was OKC this year. The Toronto Raptors in 2019 if Kawhi Leonard re-signed, and that's about it. Maybe the Celtics if they didn't have injuries, but
In fact, there have been 14 unique
Oh, actually, no. I remember that he came back and whooped their bro. Jimmy fried these dudes in the playoffs, bro. The Celtics, man, they choked that one. I ain't gonna lie, yeah, they choked. This season though, they had potential to come back this very next season, but JT got injured, so yeah.
teams in the finals over the last 8 years. That is half the NBA. We are now creeping up on an entire era of absolute parity in the NBA. And this is in complete opposition of what we saw in previous eras. Whether it was the Celtics and Lakers winning 8 of the 10 championships in the 80s, the Bulls going 6 for 10 in the 90s, the Spurs and Lakers combining for 7 rings in the 2000s, or the Warriors winning 4 in 8 seasons. Dynasties and perpetual winning have been a staple in the NBA for decades. But due to multiple factors, such as advanced analytics giving teams the insight to optimize their rosters and game plans, teams prioritizing depth more than ever before, the rise of rotation-level players and their impact on a night-to-night basis, and the league itself enacting new rules to actively fight against teams building dynasty-worthy rosters.
Why would they do that though? Does it not make for good ratings? Everybody loves a good dynasty. You know what I'm saying?
Not only is it more challenging to win a championship now than ever before, it's more equitable. No longer do you have to have the best player on the court to win a series. No longer can you pair up a couple of mega talents and run through a conference. The 10th man off the bench can be just as pivotal in today's game as your second option.
Seriously though, bro. I mean, talk about the depth that OKC has, man. Even without J-Dub, even without AJ Mitchell, who is a starter caliber guy, somebody who could be a star in this league if given the opportunity. Even with Chet Holmgren shitting the bed and not showing up for an entire playoff run, yo, they were still in it, bro. They still went 7 games. That team was deep as shit, bro. They only really lost because of Chet. And I said I wasn't going to shit on Chet, but I mean, if he showed up, I mean, we're not even looking at the Spurs right now. It would have been a potential repeat. They were supposed to repeat this year. I'm not even going to lie. OKC just choked.
The natural evolution of the game has slowly leveled the playing field for teams competing for a title. And this shrunken gap between top and...
Fucking this guy, bro. What's his name? McCain, bro. God, this motherfucker's a sniper, gang.
Teams now leaves the margin for error small enough that truly anything can happen. We still see glimpses of all world caliber players willing their teams to victories, but those moments have now become a rarity. Before this era of parity, LeBron James was able to will his way to 8 straight finals appearances off of sheer ability and determination. This does not happen in today's NBA. A great bench is no longer a bonus, it is a necessity. A great coach is no longer an edge, it's a requirement. Right when you think one team has separated themselves from the pack as a potential dynasty candidate, the league adjusts faster than it ever did before to counter their strengths. The basketball scale has and will always tilt in the favor of talent. One thing that remains true is that winning a championship means being in possession of one of, if not the best player in the world. But it's everything else. Depth, fit, cohesion, chemistry, schemes, rotations that has leveled the playing field.
Injuries. Let's not forget, man, teams need to be injured sometimes. You know, things go your way just because other team has some injured players. You can say the same thing for San Antonio right now when it comes to, when it comes to the series they had against OKC. You can say last year, OKC beat Denver in 7 games because they didn't have Aaron Gordon, who was arguably their second best player. You know what I'm saying? You can make that argument. You can say, well, even if you go past that, you want to say OKC versus, Indiana. What happened in game 7? You know what I'm saying? It looked like Indiana was going to win that game, honestly. But then we all know what happened to Tyrese Halliburton. So injuries also play a mark, man.
And can now tilt the scale just as much. This is a great take. And our last take comes from a fan who says the regular season has become all but irrelevant, and the playoffs are the only thing that actually matters.
No cap, bro. I do not watch regular season basketball. That shit is boring as a bitch, yo. I don't care for it. I might watch the in-season, what's it called? The mid-season tournament or whatever, the NBA Cup. Outside of that, I could care less. Maybe opening night, you know what I mean? Or Christmas Day. But just to randomly turn on an NBA game, I don't even care if it's my favorite team. It's a regular ass fucking game. I don't give a shit.
Both in terms of discourse and legacy. And I could not agree more with this take. In the past, the playoffs were just a ramped up version of the regular season. Tougher defense, tendencies exaggerated, more intense matchups. The consequences of the playoffs were held to a similar regard. What a player did in the postseason mattered the most, but what they did in the regular season still mattered quite a bit. But now more than ever, the postseason has become completely disconnected from the regular season. The playoffs don't just feel more intense. At times, it actually feels like we're watching a completely different sport. And this is what happens when the regular season is comprised of some teams resting players, other teams using the regular season as one long testing ground in preparation for the playoffs, and the rest of the teams literally trying to lose as many games as possible.
Yeah, bro. And you know what, man? Oh shit, I was gonna say something. What was I gonna say? Also, right? Just too many games. Let's keep it real, bro. 82 games, bro. Do we need that many games? If I feel like if you cut it, not maybe not in half, but you shave off like 10, 15 games, bro. Maybe make it like 65 games. Yo, then maybe we'll see some more competitive shit. Like maybe, you know what I'm saying? When the games seem like they matter more, then you start to see people. That's why towards the end of the season, the teams that are trying to fight for that play-in spot, you see like teams start to get serious. But like if you have 82 games, people are like, oh man, we got the whole season to fix this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to shave the games down so they start to feel like they matter more.
It has become evident that many organizations do not take the regular season seriously whatsoever. And in return, many fans are now choosing not to take it seriously either. You won the league's most prestigious award, the MVP. Well, why should I care? It doesn't even look like you do. You
Right.
average 25 a night? Yeah, well, a quarter of the league isn't even trying to win games. If all you guys care about is the playoffs, then all we're going to care about is the playoffs. And now here we are, at the point where a 6-game series can hold more weight than an entire season of basketball. Legacies, reputations, the entire merits of a player's game are now decided strictly off of the playoffs.
Facts.
Tracy McGrady was a fantastic player, and to this day, he is rightfully remembered as such. Tracy McGrady never made it out of the first round. These days, if you win an MVP, but you don't back it up as the best player throughout the entire playoffs,
Yeah.
you are instantly a fraud. Steve Nash won back-to-back MVPs and never made it to the finals.
Crazy.
Dominique Wilkins is a legend, a staple of 80s basketball. He also never made it to the conference finals once
Crazy.
in his entire career. Meanwhile, I just watched Jalen Duren wash away fan support, 70 games of awesome basketball, and a max contract in just 3 weeks of bad playoff basketball. I just watched arguably the most impactful regular season of all time get dismissed because of one bad round in the playoffs. I heard someone say Joel Embiid, former league MVP, 4th highest scoring average in NBA history, one of the most talented bigs of all time, is not a Hall of Famer because of his lack of playoff success. Do I think this new standard being imposed on players today is unfair? Yeah, I really do. Not everyone's gonna win a championship. But do I also think the players and teams have done this to themselves? Yeah. The symptom of teams coasting their way through the regular season without any real sense of urgency is that we as fans now know the real test of a player's game. Actually, the only true test of their game and their abilities is in the playoffs, which inherently makes the regular season and everything that happens in it a lot less important, and everything that happens in the postseason, even if it's a 4-game sample size, the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
And although I really
Damn, that even ties back to Chet Holmgren, doesn't it? He had a pretty decent playoffs run up until San Antonio, man. Now people are calling him a fraud and shit. And by people, I mean me. Because he is. I mean, he gave up. You know what I'm saying? He didn't show up. He didn't look like he had life in him once he faced Wemby. And I said I wasn't going to talk about it. So let me just stop it there. But as far as the other stuff, when he mentioned Dominique Wilkins and all these other people's, bro, it's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. But at the same time, people didn't have phones as well. Like social media wasn't a thing when Tracy McGrady and all of them were playing. So like you didn't have the same level of discourse like you do now when people choke in the playoffs. So I think it's a lot of reasons that lead to why, people like Dominique Wilkins, and all these other guys, Tracy McGrady and whoever else he mentioned, are still considered legends compared to people now. It's because they weren't under the same microscope as players of today. You know what I'm saying?